what they say God gives us, what is it? The hardest battles to the...
The strongest soldiers.
The strongest
Like,
soldiers.
what she about to say?
Right. I'm like, what is it?
But yes, that is
What's
yes.
the
That's what
scripture,
this
child?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna read the Bible when I get home. I'm read when I get home.
Go read it when you get home.
Yeah, I know. Y'all look that up. Y'all look what she was about to say. Y'all. But yes, absolutely.
I will not be reading it when I get home. It is okay. All right. I don't remember the scripture. I just know God gives the hardest battles to the strongest soldiers. Welcome back to Breaking Barriers with Bria, episode 8. We're going to be talking about Mother's Day, y'all. Okay? Yes. Super excited. I have here yet again my amazing friend, sister.
Good to see y'all again.
Tabitha, thank you so much for being here. Clappy, clap, clap, clap. Thank you. Oh yes, y'all. So we are finna get into Mother's Day. We're gonna talk about being mothers, new mothers, mothers of older kids. We're also gonna talk about my experience of losing a mom. And yeah, so that's it. Let's get into it. Just to forewarn you, there probably most likely will be some tears on this episode. So go ahead and grab your tissue boxes now. Okay, press pause. Get the tissue. Grab something to drink if you want. And come on back and press play.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
Yes. First of all, shout out to all the moms out there.
Yes, mom.
We love y'all. Dear mama. Yes.
Being a mom is hard.
Hard ain't even the word. Hard is not even the word. Side note, I'm a new mom.
Yes.
Okay, my baby's gonna be 6 months.
Oh my God.
He's getting there. I have a son.
Yes.
That was a journey. That whole process. But I love being a mom. I wouldn't trade it for the world. He makes being a mom, being the best. It just makes me have purpose. Give me life. I love it. It's great. But it does have, mothers out there. Y'all know the struggles.
It's a little difficult. It's a little hard.
Okay. Even godmother, honey, you see.
Yes.
Godmothers are important too.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. He's my godson. Spoiled very much so.
Very much.
Don't have to ask for nothing, child.
Don't.
But as he get older, he gonna know. Hard work. Okay, this is what you're gonna have to do. You ain't just gonna be given nothing in life. Okay.
Amen. Takes a village.
Takes a village.
It does. Well, how do you feel, sis? Right now, today,
Oh my gosh.
in this space, how do you feel?
I feel good. I really wanted to honor my mom. And just like her legacy and everything. And it's crazy because I know like I'm her legacy, myself and my twin brother. For those that don't know, I have a twin brother. Shout out to my brother. Yeah, I really just wanted to honor her legacy. I've also gotten a lot of questions about my life after my mom passed and just navigating that and everything. Yeah, so I'm happy to share this part of my story, on the platform.
And thank you for sharing this again. Sometimes it's hard to open up your life, but we thank you for doing this.
It's very hard. And I just want to say the internet's be scary.
You're okay?
Okay. I can't. No, but for real, hurt people, okay?
Yes.
Tune into the last episode if you ain't see it on mental health, But I feel like the right people will,
Absolutely.
will be able to get something from the show. Absolutely. So, yeah.
So how did your mom pass? Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. I told y'all about the tears, okay? So my mom passed unexpectedly from a car accident. So she passed on September 3rd, 2018. And it was Labor Day weekend. So I think it was the Sunday going into Monday.
Okay.
And it was just crazy. She was on the way home and someone who was drinking and intoxicated ended up hitting her head on. And so they were on the wrong side of the highway. And so my mom's friend was also in the car. And so when the guy who actually was like an ex-firefighter and a current EMT,
Okay.
crazy. Yeah, we found out that he was underneath lots of influences. But when he ended up hitting my mom, so the guy passed at the scene. My mom's friend who was in the car passed at the scene as well. My mom was the only one that survived the crash.
Okay.
And so it was a lot from what I remember, because a lot of this stuff is blurry.
Right.
But from what I remember, there was a guy who saw the accident and he got out of the car and like held her hand the whole time till the ambulance came.
Wow. Okay.
And this was at like 1:30 a.m. in the morning as well. So yeah, it was really, really crazy. Like it was just crazy. So she was the only one that survived the crash, and then they had to airlift her to Grady. So where they worked on her, at night, she had extensive injuries.
Right.
And they were working on her. Ooh, from my perspective, it was just crazy because Labor Day weekend is also Black Pride weekend. Also Luda Day weekend.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that happens during Labor Day weekend. Mm-hmm. So I was actually out with some good friends of mine at the time, celebrating Black Pride. We were at this one club, one bar, and, we were just having a good time. It's just crazy to know, like, where I was and everything at the time. Like, it's just crazy how life works and how time works, because I was there having a great time in the bar, and then, like, my mom got to the car accident. So, but I didn't even know, It's just wild. Needless to say, I've never been to that bar back. I haven't been back since.
Okay.
And it's nothing with the bar. It's just, the traumatics and everything.
Yes, traumatizing.
Yeah. So I ended up staying the night over my friend's house at the time. And I remember having a missed call from my brother at like, I feel like he might have called me at 5 maybe. And I didn't see it, but I remember he called me. I answered. It was at 7.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey. And he was like, hey, like, I just got to the hospital. Like, they said mom was in a car accident, blah, blah, blah. Like, go ahead and come on to the hospital or whatever. They said they want to, I'm waiting on you when you get here too, whatever. So I was like, all right. So I'm like driving. And at the time, my friend lived in West Midtown. So I'm like driving down to Grady. It was maybe about 15-minute ride. Yeah. I just remember praying, thinking like, God, please let my mom be okay. Right. Like, well, this is so weird. Like, what's going on? And so I got there and it was like hard to get up. I finally got in. Then I saw my brother and he was like, they won't say nothing to me or whatever. And I was like, okay. So then the surgeon comes out, and then like the surgeon assistant. She was already looking sad. Like, ma'am, you was not doing your job. I'm sorry. Well, I appreciate her empathizing with me with the situation, but I could tell it wasn't good news. And the doctor, explained some things to me and to us about all of her injuries and stuff, like her internal injuries. And I think at one point they worked on her ankle and just different things. All these terms that he was saying that I recall because, I got a PhD in Grey's Anatomy, because I've really been watching it since like it came out since the beginning, I think we on episode 19, y'all. Nonetheless.
She's crazy.
I only knew the terms because of Grey's Anatomy, right? Okay. So I was like, oh my God. So when he finished, he was like, we did she had a blood transfusion.
Okay.
And right now she's stable. Okay. Or whatever, but we worked on her, all night. So they were like, okay. So then at the same time, I'm sorry, I skipped. I saw the lieutenant. Lieutenant was there. So then when the doctors walked away, the lieutenant was like, is there anybody else y'all need to call, to be here? So then I was like, probably like my cousin or whatever. Okay. And I guess, I don't know if the doctor told him like, it's not looking good. Like they need whomever, like clearly. Because at the time I was 25.
Right.
So fairly young, right, ish. And I was like, yeah, my cousin, who's like 20 years older than us. So if I was 25, he was 45. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, but he's always kind of been like an older uncle, cousin, / because I talked about my aunt on the Women in Medicine episode who passed from when she stepped on a nail. Mm-hmm. So that was her son that she had before she passed. Yeah, she passed at 23, but she had him before.
Wow. Okay.
So he's I mean, obviously like our next call. So I was like, okay, well, let's call him. So we call him, and he lives in Douglasville. So in the meanwhile, oh dang, I skipped some. The surgeon in the meanwhile, while we were calling or whatever, the surgeon had also said that my mom's friend who was in the car passed away. Right. And so my brother, I remember my brother being like, oh shit, oh my God. And like walking to the bathroom, and I had to like go in there after he left. I was like, thank you so much for, please just do everything that you can or whatever. I went to the bathroom to get my brother. I was like, Brian, come on. Like, we got to be strong. We don't know what's happening. He was like, man, nah, man, la, 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 And so I finally get him up. We have to go to like the waiting room, I guess, to wait for my cousin. Okay. And, boy, I don't know what happened, boy, but your girl just started hollering and screaming. And I don't know. I just started hyperventilating. And I was just like, then it was like my brother was trying to take care of me. Right. So it was like we was trying to take care of each other. And I was so loud. They was like, no, man, I'm sorry. You got to go in the family room. So they put me in the family room. Not funny at all. They put us in the family room, and Gabe brought me some water. And then my cousin got there. It was so fast. So my cousin got there, and his wife. And then I was able to stop hyperventilating. And so, there's just so many conversations that happen, like when you're at a hospital, like with different people or whatever, because apparently the lieutenant was like, look, man, it's not looking good. You need to be strong for them. Right. Everybody's saying be strong for everybody else, which is crazy. So I was like, okay. So he comes in. I have an uncle, my mom's brother. Okay. And we essentially take care of him as a family. Okay. So we made the decision to call him as well. Absolutely. And my cousin's wife went to go get him. But in the meantime, they was like, okay, so what y'all want to do? Y'all want to go in? I was like, no, like we want to go in now. Okay. So we went ahead and went in. And sure enough, like as we were going back, I seen some doctors running towards the room. I was hoping it wasn't her room, Lord, but it was. And so that she had just coded. So then they were trying to bring her back. And I remember them saying, we're going to try for like 2 more minutes or something. 2 minutes felt like 2 seconds, literally. And then they called it at 8:55 a.m. And it was just crazy. It was really surreal. Right. And I just could not believe what was happening. And it just felt like I was in a completely different universe, world. Like what is happening? Yeah. Like what exactly is happening? And so sure enough, we went into the room. And we saw her on the bed. And for me, it was like my mom was asleep. But because she was just, laying there. Okay. And literally, I was just like in shock. Like me and my brother, between me, my brother, my cousin, there's tears and just everything. And I kind of felt like she kind of waited for us to get there in a way. Because she had been stable, she had a lot going on, but yeah, it's kind of how I felt. And then as soon as we were there, I don't know, it was almost as if it was just like her saying like, okay, like they're okay. Like, they're okay, Who child? So it was really tough. And what I said, 8:55. So then they called it. We were able to sit in the room until about 12 o'clock. And I think it was 3 hours. That 3 hours went by so fast. I think me and my brother and my cousin took turns like talking to my mom and stuff. And, we was just crying. And I was like scared at one point. I was like, do I touch my mom? I don't know. I was like, do I hold her hand? Like, I don't know. And so it was just really, really, really tough. And, yeah. So that was a lot. Yeah. I know it's a lot to say to us. Yeah. How did your life change after that? I know it was a lot, but how did that process go from, the hospital to the funeral to the aftermath? Like, explain that to us. Cause when I tell you my life changed, it was like my life changed after my mom took her last breath. Like, completely changed. being in the hospital literally at 12, I remember thinking, like, what do I do now?
Right. It's okay.
I remember thinking, like, what am I supposed to do? Because at the time, like, everything I did for my mom.
Right.
Or for my family. Like, I've always been, like, family oriented. And I've always been, like, you know, like, the go-getter and stuff. And I've always been, like, you know, I'm going to be the one to, like, and essentially, like, get us out the hood. And she was just always, like, my motivator. And it was really confusing. I was like, what am I supposed to do? And I remember my cousin's wife at the time was like, I mean, do you want to call anybody? Like, do you want to go home? And I remember thinking, like, what is home? You know, if my mom's not there. And it was just so weird. It was just so weird because it was just like my whole life like changed just like that. And I was like, okay, I guess I got friends I can call. So then I started calling a few friends. And I was like, I mean, am I supposed to call and tell y'all to come over to the house? Like, I don't know. So I called them and I was like, you know, my mom just passed or whatever. Like, I'm at Grady right now. And they were like, you can ask for a tissue.
I didn't want to interrupt you. Sorry about that.
I was like, I guess I'm going to the house because, I don't know, I guess I'm supposed to go to the house. So I remember calling a few friends, my close friends at the time, and I started driving back to the house. Right. And I remember like saying, like, damn, okay, I got to call my boss, like, Bria, like, go get her. Like, I can't go to work tomorrow. And I'm like, I don't even know when I'm going back to work. Like, what does this even look like?
Right. So
I remember calling him first, and I was like, trying not to cry. And I was like, I can't, you know, I'm not gonna be able to come to work tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And he was like, okay, like, is everything okay? And so I was like, no. And then I just remember screaming and being like, you know, my mom was in a car accident, like, and she didn't make it. And I remember, I was just screaming like she didn't make it while I'm driving the car. Like, I remember like hitting the steering wheel, and he was like, you need to calm down. And I was like, I can't do that. People come to the house. Like, I got to be there, you know, for when they arrive or whatever. I have to keep going. And he was like, okay, like, you know, send me the address. I'm going to come and stuff like that. So then I hang up the phone. I guess I sent him the address somehow. Then I called my best friend, one of my best friends who lived in Chicago. Okay. And so I tell her she had literally got on the flight like 2 days before that to move to Chicago. And I tell her what happened. I'm screaming on the phone with her. She's like, oh my gosh, Bria, like, I don't know if I can get back down there. Like, blah, blah, blah. You need to pull over. Like, you can't drive like that. And I'm like, I got to get home because I'm supposed to be going to the house to meet these people. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, I pull up at the house and people just start showing up. And I remember opening the garage door so people can enter that way. I remember just being in the house. My friends that I called showed up. Some of their parents showed up. Like, one of my friends' moms is a lawyer. Like, she showed up to try to help. Mm-hmm. I remember somebody brought some church's chicken, child. Somebody brought some soda cans. And I guess that's when I realized that, like, when somebody passed, people bring food to your house. And I was like, why does people keep asking me, do I have some food or drinks or whatever? I'm not even hungry. Right. So I remember one of my friends literally like force fed me some mashed potatoes sitting on the sofa. And one of my other friends was like making fun of her, saying like, she is trying to force Bria to eat these mashed potatoes. But she knew I had just went out the night before. Okay. And I hadn't eaten anything. And so she was just like, you need to eat. And that friend actually experienced a lot of grief and death in her family as well. So I guess she knew what she was talking about. And so literally it was just so weird. People from my past showing up, people calling, asking, can they come over? And I at the time I was just like, no, like I don't, like, why everybody keep coming to my house?
Right.
Like, what's going on? Like, no, I don't want everybody in my business. I don't want everybody in my house.
Right.
So I actually had friends stay over for like the next week. It was like a schedule. And they put it on my fridge, and it was like, you know, so-and-so's going to stay with Bria this night. So-and-so's going to stay with Bria the next night or whatever.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's very sweet.
It was very, very, very great. And I think it's because, you know, they knew that I was there by myself at that point. So I was just, because I lived with my mom at the time.
Right.
And so I was in my mom's house by myself. Now, mind you, I told you I have a brother.
Right.
But at the time, he lived with his girlfriend.
Okay.
So they didn't want me in the house by myself. So they did like a clock. And so a rotating clock. So different people stayed with me for different days. And I wasn't even tired at first. But I do remember just kind of falling out at some point in time. Just being tired and sleeping. Wow. So then the funeral.
Yes.
I had never done anything with a funeral. I'm like, how do I do this?
Right.
I had only been to one funeral in my life, and that was my grandmother's when she passed when I was 13.
Okay.
Next funeral was my mom's, and I got to plan it. Yeah. So I literally the next day, my cousin, you know, he's on it, and it was hard for him too. So shout out to him. Shout out to you, cousin, for being strong. Right. But he was like, you got to do this, X, Y, and Z. His wife was like, you need a repast. I was like, what the hell is a repast? They're like, you need food. I'm like, why do you need food for a funeral? Like, you know, and it was a lot. So my brother came, you know, so as we're going through these things, next thing I know, he disappeared. That's about 5 minutes. I call him. I'm like, where you at? He's like, I just can't do it, Bria. Like, he had left. He had left.
It's too much for him.
He had left.
Yeah.
And it was too much for him. And, you know, I respect everybody's process for grieving and everything. But I was like, wow, I'm doing this shit by myself. And that's no shade to him. But like, damn, I had to do this shit by myself.
You would needed him. I know. Yeah.
It was a lot. So he processed, you know, the way that he processed. And I had to process and still get the shit done. Because if I hadn't done it, then what?
Exactly.
You know, maybe my cousin would have did it. Maybe.
Okay.
But again, I'm still trying to be responsible. I'm like, okay, well, I want to do things the way she would want it to be done.
Right.
So I plan a funeral. Like, who got to take the body? Like, what the hell's the name?
The funeral?
Yeah. I'm blanking on it. Ooh, I am so sorry. I am blanking on it. Anyways. Who got to take the body? What is she going to wear for the funeral?
Right.
I got to pick out clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I got to figure out the time, what church is going to be at. You know, are we going to record it? I got to pick out caskets. Like,
the whole process. Ooh.
Entire process. And I'm just like, this is insane. And people do this every time somebody pass. Like, what? Yeah. And don't even get me started on the price. Expensive.
Very.
Expensive.
Very.
Expensive. And if it wasn't for the insurance money, who's gonna pay for that? Who?
Your mom was smart. She had insurance.
She was very prepared.
Very prepared.
And that's what the sermon was about during her service. A large part of it was about her being prepared. Like, my mama did not always have everything. You know, she wasn't born with a silver spoon or anything like that.
Right.
But she was always prepared.
I love that.
She was always like a just in case type of person, which is why I think I'm very much a just in case type of person, because you never know. You just never know.
Right.
So doing all of that, it was just crazy, and it really got to me at the funeral when I walked in, because I think I hadn't really broke down crying since then, until we were literally going to walk into the service, into the funeral. And then all of a sudden it just started coming down. And I just seen all the people that were there for her. It was crazy because she had been doing her job. My mom worked at the post office for 32 years. And she had been having customers and helping people in the community, you know, for a very long time in Atlanta. And so it was so many people that showed up for her. And I was crying because of that. I was crying because of the service and just seeing my mom. And then, you know, I had just said that I wanted to sing because, as you know, we sing in a gospel ensemble. And I wanted to sing, I really wanted to sing for her.
Absolutely.
Before she passed. I remember saying that to our director. And so ironically, you know, with her passing already, thank you for being a part of the ensemble and singing at the service.
Of course.
So then I was crying, but then I was like, I got to get up there.
And you did. Let me just say, my heart for Bria, for doing that for her mama. Sorry. She has been through a lot, and I love her so much. You were strong. Strong. And I love you for that. I value you for that, Bria. You helped me to push and keep going.
It is so hard. Yeah. I literally only take it one day at a time. And that is literally all we can do.
That's right.
That is literally it. And I don't give a damn what anybody else got to say. We are all taking it one day at a time.
Absolutely.
Because the sad part is that while I lost my mom at 25, the hard reality is that that is the one thing that we all have in common on this planet. Yeah. That at some point in time, us and our loved ones are going to pass.
You're right.
It is so hard.
To swallow. Yes,
hard.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that all human beings have on this earth that they cannot deny.
Yeah. Can't avoid it.
You cannot.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you want to. No matter how hard you try not to think about it.
Yeah.
It is going to happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is why having conversations like this,
important, very important.
especially with your family members, and being prepared just in case.
Being prepared. Yep.
Because once you pass away, if they don't know what to do, it's up to whoever is in the room. So it's extremely important. So I'm a completely different person.
Right.
My life changed totally, and I started a completely different chapter.
Yeah.
Like, I really had to learn how to live life essentially on my own, and without the guidance of like my mom,
right,
who was really prevalent and, you know, heavy like in my life.
Right.
And that was so hard to do. And I'm grateful for the job I had at the time to give me grace. I'm grateful for my therapist who held me down.
Yes.
You know, I'm grateful for, even though I still feel like it's fucked up, the mental health system.
Oh, okay.
You know,
yes,
for people
absolutely.
taking time, and bereavement for people who pass.
Yes.
And who, you know, suffer from certain mental health issues.
Right.
So.
Was it hard for you to, you know, I know that whole process, did you ever reach out for help? Like, did you have any support, people to, you know, that you could,
Absolutely. It was very tough. And on the last episode, we talked about my mental health journey, but it was very tough. I reached out to only a couple friends at the time that I felt like I really trusted and could really get help from.
Okay.
And so when I wasn't doing what I needed to do, they'd be like, okay, Bria, like, you made this promise to yourself. Like, you know that this is not who you are, you know, friends like you yourself that will remind me of who I was, you know. And I feel like any and everybody, you need friends like that, family members that's going to remind you of who you are and your purpose, like to keep going and get your shit together. You got to get your shit together. If you want to set out to do whatever it is you said you're going to do, get your shit together. We all going through traumatic shit.
Yeah.
We are all going through hard times. Yeah. But you got to get it together.
Right.
So
sometimes it's easier said than
it
done.
is. It is easier said than done. Absolutely. It's easier to self-medicate.
Yeah.
It's easier to go to the bottle.
Yeah.
I've seen many of my family members do it. It's easier to hide, to just stick in the second place.
And that's not living.
It's easier to go to a substance. Yeah. It's easier. It's easier to not talk about it. It's easier to not cry. It's easier to keep it in.
Right. Right. But who's that helping?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So what advice would you give people, dealing with the same thing, as you, what would you give them?
I would probably give, the advice I would probably give would be to keep your head up.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, take care of yourself first.
Yes. Okay.
You cannot keep going if you do not take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Well said.
You just can't. All the way from the beginning to later on when you've gotten through a little bit of it, like you can't plan a funeral if you don't take care of yourself. You got to sleep. You got to eat. You need friends forcing church's chicken mashed potatoes down your throat like you do. Because you didn't eat, sis. It's been 24 hours.
Right.
Like,
and that's important to have that. People to look out for you, to have that. Yes. I love that love. You feel that. Yeah. Especially when you need it the most.
When I need it the most.
The most. Yeah.
You need people like that. So you gotta surround yourself with people like that. And you have to remember to put your own mask on first. And it's gonna be okay. It is hard. I would be lying if I said that it was not hard. And that it wasn't like, it don't feel like it was yesterday. And I know anybody that's ever lost somebody understands it. It's hard. This shit is hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult. You're gonna be sad. There are good days. There are bad days. I don't know about time healing everything. I don't know who told that lie. I don't know about healing everything. It might make it a little bit more manageable. It might make it a little bit more manageable, okay, as you working through your shit. But, but yeah.
You have your good days.
You have your good days, your bad days. Like I said in the first episode, some days I'm a sad baddie.
Yeah.
One bad day only lasts 24 hours though. I think about my mom.
Okay.
I think about what she would want me to be doing.
Absolutely.
I think about her being proud of me and me keeping on pushing and trying to continue her legacy and the family legacy and just me being happy, creating my own legacy.
Right, absolutely.
I think about that, and after 24 hours, I'd be like, all right, Bria, you can't be sad no more. Like, continue to walk in your purpose.
Right.
Continue to share your story.
Yes.
Continue to be a light.
Yes.
And, and keep it moving, honey.
Period.
And continue to break barriers.
Okay.
All right.
What's one thing that you would want to say to your mom if she was here?
Oh, my gosh.
Thing.
One thing?
Yep.
Mama. No, I'm just playing. One thing. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Something you just want her to know, like just to keep with her about you.
I think I honestly would probably just let her know that I'm doing the best that I can.
Absolutely.
With what I have.
Okay.
And I think she would say that's enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're strong, sis. You're strong.
Oh, I'm tired. I'm tired of being strong.
I know. But if you wasn't strong, you wouldn't be right here.
I know. I wouldn't be. What they say, God gives us, what is it? The hardest battles to the...
The strongest
the strongest
soldier.
I'm like, what is it?
But yes, that is
what's
yes.
the scripture, child?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Read the Bible right there. I'm reading when I get home.
You go read it when you get home.
Yeah, I know. Y'all look that up. Y'all look what she was about to say. But yes, absolutely.
I will not be reading it when I get home. You just say, okay, all right. I don't remember this girl. I just know God gives the hardest battles to the strongest soldiers.
That's what she was trying to say.
Okay. That's all I know, y'all. But my advice would be to keep going.
Yes. Keep going.
Keep pushing. Do not give up. It's so easy. It's easier to give up. But know that you're not alone. That's one of the hardest pills to swallow. Like, there are other people out here that are losing their parents as well. Mm-hmm. Some people are losing kids, you know. Being a mom is hard as it is, but it's also a blessing.
Absolutely.
It's also a blessing. I'm blessed to be able to say that I had my mom in my life for that long. Because I know some people lost their mom at younger ages. I'm blessed to be able to say that I didn't grow up with my mom and see her get dementia or Alzheimer's and stuff like my grandmother did. Like, there's blessings. There's always silver linings in everything. You just have to be open to seeing it. So that's my advice. And if there's anybody out there that needs any help or assistance or just has questions or just want to talk more, again, you can DM me anytime, like, comment, subscribe. And I got you, boo. I got you, Baddie. Okay? That's it.
Because remember, real baddies break barriers. Good child. That's a wrap. I can't go no more.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to Breaking Barriers with Bria, episode 8, our Mother's Day episode. Make sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to stay up to date on our content. Alrighty, and if you haven't already, go back and check out the other episodes where we talk about mental health, what it's like to being a baddie, as well as women in medicine, women in sports, all of the above. Alright, also baddies, if you or someone that you know is struggling from mental health or any mental health issues, please make sure to call the National Crisis Hotline or chat with them at 988. You can text or you can call. Again, it's 988, all right? Because remember, real baddies take care of themselves and real baddies break barriers.